Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. As promised last week, I am back live today, and I'm really excited for today's topic because, as promised, this month is going to be all about making sure you guys are getting your reimbursement and your insurance participation in place, whether you are an existing practice, you're thinking about acquiring a practice that has already been established, or if you're doing a startup practice yourself. I want to focus on giving you all the up to date information that I currently have in my position and how we help our clients to make sure that you are empowering yourselves in your dental practices. So, welcome. And as you're joining me live, either through my Facebook group or through my YouTube channel, just make sure you say hello. And again, full disclaimer, I am not too tech savvy. So, if I am not responding to your messages, don't think I'm ignoring you. I will read them through at the end of the live and then I will respond to you accordingly. But welcome. Thank you for joining me. And let's jump right in. So, what I want to focus on today, last week I gave you guys some truths about insurance participation and negotiating your fees as an overall topic. And today I want to focus on those offices that have been established for more than 2 years or more than a year, and you're having questions and concerns about when is the right time for me to start renegotiating my fees and how do I do it? What are the steps that I should follow to do that? And how do I manage the relationship with my patients? How do I pass down the message? And how do I make sure that my bottom line at the end of the day, it's not, or my cash flow, if you will, is not hurt throughout this transition? So again, my goal is to empower all of you and make sure you watch this till the end. If you're new to my channel and if you're new to my group, thank you so much for the support and for the opportunity to serve you. I'm just an email or a call away. At the end of this live, I'm going to share with you some of my contact information so that you can definitely reach out to me, because I am not actively putting and posting here because I am trying to just focus on my business and my family. And it takes an army, to be completely honest and completely fair. So thank you again for joining me. And I'm looking forward to being able to assist you. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. So let's jump right in and talk about how often is it feasible for you to renegotiate your fees. I'm going to share with you some case studies. What are the process for me to follow that is going to make sense and I'm going to be able to get the results? I want everyone to understand that there's so much untapped potential within your fees and within the contracts that you currently have in place that I want to encourage you to make sure that you take a deeper look. So I'm happy and excited to do this with you today. And by all means, let me know who you are in the comments and if you can hear me okay, because I have no way of testing to make sure that this is working. So let me go to the slides. So existing practices, that's what I wanted to focus on today. Now, in the world do I, okay. First question that I want to address today: how often should I renegotiate my fees? If you are a dental startup and you basically are looking to establish your fees, by all means, whether it's me or anyone, make sure you work with someone to help you with this process, because it is overwhelming, and credentialing and contracting are two different things. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Now, if you have already established your practice and at the beginning you did it yourself or you hired someone and you haven't had support throughout this period, 2 years or so into your practice, you want to be able to understand how to do it. And best practices for you to renegotiate your fees is to do it every 2 years. Ideally, at least once a year, you want to be in touch with your agent. And we're going to talk about that because I have some crazy stats to share with you regarding being able to develop a relationship with your agents. And at the end of this live, I want to be able to share with you um, some contact information depending on your state. I've been doing this for years. So we have a database with agents and people that you can connect with if you don't know this information. So I want to empower everyone that it's watching, that it's here, to take control of their practices' financial well-being and stop outsourcing and giving up the control of really what is important for you so that you can follow a good process. So how often should you renegotiate your fees? once a year. Some dental agents are going to tell you, reach out to me in January. I have doctors who have been going through this process. They say, because we develop and help them develop a relationship with the agents will guide you towards when you can have a revision of the fees. And it's going to be different for each insurance company. So very important that at a minimum once a year you're touching base with the agent so that you can catch when is the right time or opportunity for that given insurance company. So it is a minimum of a year, but regularly the standard has been every 2 years to help you answer that question. Now let me see if I can know how to do this. So second question I want to address in today's live is, what are the steps that I need to take to renegotiate my office private fees? And I want to basically give you an overview of the steps. I have a particular worksheet and that I have some of my doctors complete when I do like a workshop, and I'm basically doing it live with a team or during a VIP session with some of my clients to be able to export the or extract the data from the software to be able to map out the strategy. So what is the first step? The first step that you want to do is you want to generate a report, and that report is going to be an insurance utilization by an insurance report by utilization, meaning you want to find out how many claims go out linked to Delta Dental, linked to Blue Cross Blue Shield, linked to MetLife, to all of the insurance companies, a general report. And then you're going to rank the insurances by the top five. And I'm going to show you one of the worksheets or one of the slides. I have like a picture of one case study that I'm going to be sharing with you during this live to illustrate what that looks like and what steps to follow. So I'm going to be walking you through the process and making sure that you understand. So first step is to generate that report. Again, if you're an established practice, and I recommend that you do this once a year or every 6 months, no matter what stage in your business you're in, whether you started 6 months ago or a year ago, you want to get into the habit of periodically generating this report so that you can have always an understanding on the kind of business model, whether you are maintaining your business model, if anything is shifting, and if you need to reverse engineer any strategies to make sure that you're ultimately reaching certain targets or goals that you're setting for yourself and for your team. So that's the first one. The second step is to see how you are currently contracted with those insurance companies. So you're going to hear this a lot. There are now more opportunities for you to enroll with insurance companies and tap into certain plans. 20 years ago, when I started dealing with insurance companies, you had to sign a contract with each insurance company going down the line from Aetna down to United Healthcare. Now insurances have done something that it's more like, instead of competing with one another, they're joining forces. So by understanding their relationships with one and the other, you're going to be able to leverage participation and leverage reimbursement with a grain of salt. Not all of the networks are leased, and there are some pros and cons associated with it. And this is why I'm so excited about today's live, because I'm going to break down some of that for you to empower you and to make sure that you are equipped with the knowledge and not at the mercy of getting another outside company to do something that you can easily train your staff to do. So you're going to look at how you're contracted, right? So you're going to call Aetna and you're going to ask Aetna, how am I currently contracted with you? They're going to tell you, well, you follow a direct contract with us. And then what the next step you're going to do is you're going to ask this insurance company, hey, it's this, do you have an affiliate relationship with another company? And I will tell you from the top of my head, Ameritas and Principal were the very first companies to create an affiliate relationship. This goes back to the early 2000s. And we started to notice this as I was managing the offices, that they started to incorporate a model that it's called share cost savings. What share cost savings means is, let's say you are contracted for $32 for a periodic evaluation with Aetna, right? Because their fees are extremely low that way. And then your principal fee schedule is $30 for an exam, right? Still low. So because they have a mutual relationship with one another, Aetna can choose to pay your claims at $30 and split that $1 difference. For $1 goes to principal, $1 goes to Aetna. And so understanding the relationship between insurance companies is an extremely important step that I don't want you to miss and learn about and educate yourself on so that you can leverage participation. An easy fix to this, once you map these things out, and I'm going to share with you some of the worksheets or ask you to email us to share this information with you for free at the end of the session, is that I was able to, and this is something that you can do in your office right away, look at how you're contracted and look how, for example, if this is true, you're following Aetna directly, Guardian directly, Principal directly, Emeritus directly, put all of the fees in a centralized worksheet and see how much each insurance is paying you. You can terminate the contracts for the one that pays you the least so that you can use that one fee schedule that it's highest across the board because they have a shared relationship. So does that mean that I want you to just do this? No, it means that it's just an untapped opportunity. And I want you to understand and learn how to leverage the relationship between plans because that's extremely important. So you've generated your report. You currently found out how you're contracted in your office. Then you're going to look at the relationship between different companies and request from any umbrella company a proposed fee schedule before you reach out to your directed contracted plans, which is going to be the step number 5 after you centralize all the information and you map out, this is how much I'm getting paid for this one. This is the relationship between all of them. Now you're going to want to reach out to the agents associated for each of these companies and ask them and say, hey, the last time we had our fees revised from your company was X and X date. I think it's time that we have a revision and we consider renegotiating our fees. And you're going to start building a relationship with the agent this way. And if you've never reached out to the agent before, you want to be strategic and make sure that you're literally actively connecting with them because they can help you tremendously as needed in the future. A fun fact that is not so fun that I realized reaching out and doing a workshop, I asked a team of like 50 doctors, how many of you have the names of your agents for the top 5 insurance companies you work with? And like literally no hands went up. So that's very, very unfortunate that dental offices are having to work with dental insurances and yet they don't develop a relationship with the agents that can potentially advocate for them to negotiate and maintain their fees up to date. And is genuinely reaching out to the agent and connecting with them and just saying, hey, I'm this practice. This is some of the authority and good things about my doctor. And we're just looking at these numbers and these fees and just develop a relationship with them. Do not fall into this 95% of the population that does not know who your dental insurance agents are. I'm going to take a moment here to go somewhere and see if everyone is with me. You rock, Maritza. Thank you. Yes, we can hear you. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I am like so into my thing and making sure that I don't turn something off by mistake. That just bear with me. Okay. So that's the fun fact that it's not so fun. Don't let this be you in your offices. Okay, guys. So my goal again is for you to take control of your practice and negotiate with the PPOs directly from the office. You don't need to hire me. You don't need to hire anyone else. The way that insurance companies are working nowadays is they prefer not to work with third-party companies, and they actually help maintain better rates if you are reaching out to them and if whether it's the dentist or the office manager. So you want to learn this process so that you can internally handle these things yourself. You can potentially get better results than having a third-party company do it. And I wanted to share with you guys this case study. So to show you and illustrate, like when I was doing negotiations, and I've been doing this again for, I want to say 20 years, because as I was helping my former employer expand and open offices, one of the many things that I helped and I learned about was negotiating. Now, we were negotiating and we were expanding, so we had leverage because we had multiple offices and we were strategically opening locations in areas where we knew there was a need. So we were able to negotiate direct contracts with a lot of these insurance companies. Most recently, if you're opening in an already saturated area, your leverage and your opportunities are going to be with alternative contracting options. So instead of working directly with a plan, you work through a third party relationship. So let's look at this case study. This is one of my previous clients that I helped negotiate. They were looking into another company, and they were talking about, oh, they're offering me to work and get a third party contract for my office. And I'm concerned because I know this was a very smart office manager who had been telling the doctor there's got to be a catch with the third party relationships. And I just want to make sure that we don't create any problems for the active patient base. And she was so on target. When we generated the report for this practice, we found that Delta Dental, again, it's the biggest PPO insurance in the country. United Concordia, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, MetLife, and Care First were the top 5 or 6 insurances most prevalently used at this practice. Delta Dental, as we all know, has assigned fees depending on the area. United Concordia, depending on the program or the network, if it's the DoD, the Department of Defense, the military insurance is a federal sponsored funded plan. So there are no negotiations. It's a standard regional fee schedule. Blue Cross Blue Shield, again, similar to Delta Dental, typically does not negotiate their contracts directly unless you're opening in a very in need area. And I've seen this happen. Cigna recently submitted letters downgrading or reducing the fees for some established practices. MetLife, the word is out there, they don't negotiate fees directly. Care First falls under the same kind of scenario depending on where you are and so on. So when I ran this analysis, I basically told the doctor, after we do this, Delta Dental is out of the question, United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, let's try to renegotiate with them. They declined the renegotiation, and instead of reducing the fees, we were able to negotiate for them to maintain the fees. But the strategy that I used was one that I want to encourage you to take place, and it is for the emails to come down for, let's say, MetLife. And the MetLife example is the one that I like the most because we were able to negotiate directly with MetLife, where everyone out there is saying MetLife doesn't negotiate directly. And for the most part, they don't. We were able to negotiate directly with MetLife a 30% increase for this office. Okay. So how we did it, we reached out to the agent. They do have agents that work with the insurance companies directly. And I laid down the option to the doctor. I said, your only chances here are for your MetLife patients. MetLife patients, there are 3 tiers, the PDP Plus, and Federal VIP. If you terminate your direct contract to go through a third party contract, then you're going to be able to get higher fees, but you're going to be terminating or turning as out of network part of your active patient base. So the reason why I stress so much being conservative in the renegotiation is because a lot of the companies out there that are doing it as a form of when you outsource it to them, they jump into the third party relationship train immediately without assessing or training you and your staff to understand fully how is it going to affect your bottom line. So when you sign up through the third party relationship, you have to terminate your contract. It takes about a year for them to reconsider adding you through the third party relationship. And during that time frame, you need to have a strategy for how to manage the patient experience. And all the offices that I reach out to, they never really fully enter into the software the information so accurately as to noticing, hey, of my patients that with MetLife, I have 30% of the patients with the PDP network versus 30 or 40 or 50 or what have you with this. The ratio between the tiers underneath each of those insurance companies is never really clear to the offices until I jump in and I start sharing this information with them. I prepare my startup clients, which is my baby and what I love to do and what I'm passionate about, on dividing and conquering from the very beginning. But a lot of existing practices, when I go in and I start having these conversations with them, they're clueless. They don't really understand how to do this. And when a third party company offers you to renegotiate your fees, you need to understand that not all the networks are going to, not all of your patients are going to be in the network once you finally get picked up by that third party umbrella company. So the strategy that we used here, we reached out to we identified who the advocate was for this particular office for MetLife. The office was submitting with my coaching and my information, the having the communication directly coming from the office manager and the dentist, with kind of like my assistance on the back end. And for that reason, we were able to pretty much just directly, without disrupting anything in the office, be able to negotiate a 30% increase. This is stuff that you don't hear from, doesn't happen often. And the reason why is because it takes someone who cares and who understands insurances to do their job the way that it should be. Otherwise, this office would have been out of network for about a year. And when they did join the network, then you have to have a strategy for how to manage those patients that are going to be turned as out of network. So there is a strategy for that I'm going to share with you now. And so here are some pro tips, because we're going to be wrapping up. I didn't even set an agenda for how long I was going to be talking, but I'm really hoping that you guys are enjoying this and learning. And if you are, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Some pro tips for you to remember: learn the networks that are least compared to your active patient base. What does that mean? Start saying to yourselves, as you're entering information into the software, MetLife, this patient has MetLife PDP Plus. This patient has PDP. Or if you're contemplating renegotiating your fees because you are an established practice and you want to start planning ahead, start looking and go back through some of your files and see and pull up 10 or 15 charts, if you will, for a particular network, say MetLife, and see how many of those patients are going to have the networks that are part of the lease partnership agreement, so that you can then make the decision to terminate and use the fees that are being sent to you by a third party umbrella company that offers higher fees directly than MetLife, for instance. So you can use it as leverage to renegotiate directly before attempting to leave the network. Okay. So that's one. The second thing is, you want to, if you do make the decision to terminate your contracts or contemplating this, you want to communicate with the patient before the insurance gets to them first. Because the first thing the insurance company is going to do when they receive a termination request from you is that they're going to send a letter to the patient. Hey, we hate to tell you that your dentist is no longer going to be in the network. Here are a list of other doctors that are part of our network so that you can save. And then they encourage them and pretty much promote your competitors. So you want to be able to, one, make sure that you personally reach out to the patients that are in active treatment, and you tell them, as of this date, my contract is, I'm making some shifts and some changes to my contracts due to the reimbursement. We really love having you in our office, and you've been a very important part of our growth, and we want to continue to serve you. Temporarily, this is what you should anticipate and expect. During that transition, here's how we're going to handle your account. Create a strategic partnership with the patient to ensure that they are going to continue to give you your business, and that they know that, hey, the claims are going to be processed out of network during a transitional period, so that they're not receiving the notification from the insurance company first. And then lastly, I want you to start mapping out and thinking, who is my insurance agent for this particular insurance company, and start developing and sending periodic emails to these agents. I advise all of my clients during the holidays. I said, get to the agents that are on your list and send them a seasonal greeting message saying, hey, I'm so and so from office so and so, and I just received your information from the customer service department. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm going to be doing an assessment in the next couple of days for our office, and I would love to work with you in case we have any questions or problems or anything that pertaining to our relationship with you right now. Boom, simple email connecting at a personal level with the agents that you're working with. So when it comes down to the decision making, you already have information ahead of you, and you have already built rapport with this individual to help you through this process. I'm hoping that you guys are finding this helpful. So I'm about to wrap up and giving you guys some instructions for what to do next week. So I do not want to continue doing renegotiations. I want to teach how to do the renegotiations in a way that it makes the office money and helps you reduce your, kind of like risk of loss of income. And so I want to empower and train and support dental offices through this process, and I don't want to do it as taking on their business. I've been, for the most part, creating a done with you kind of approach in the last couple of sessions and clients that I've taken on, but I really want to focus on the consulting for the startups and so on and so forth. So this is something that I want to give as a gift to you. I want to share with you the toolkit that we use with the steps to follow for doing this, and share with you the list of the TPAs and the agents that we have on our database, to make sure that if you have someone in your team that wants to go through this process and get it done for you, that you have at least some of those resources. So email contact us at mdencs.com and say, I watched Maritz's live and I want to please inquire about the renegotiation toolkit, free toolkit, so that we can, so that I can have someone in my team do this. The other thing is, if you find this video helpful and useful, do not keep me a secret and share this with a dentist in need. And join me every week. Next week, I'm going to talk about, let's see what I decided to talk about. Okay, how to negotiate your fees and how to handle a dental acquisition. If you are a first time business owner and you're contemplating getting into an established practice, and you're going to be the new owner of an existing practice, so you're acquiring a new location or transition of ownership, you may not want to miss this live. I'm going to try my best to create some posts to announce it before then. But again, I don't have a marketing team to support me through this. So I just promised that I was going to show up, and I did show up. So again, if you're finding this helpful and useful, invite your other friends over to the group, and make sure you visit my channel to watch some of the videos that I've been uploading. And let's stay in touch. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be seeing you next week. Thank you so much.